Hi everyone. So my name is Lauren Dwyer and I'm a final year environmental health student who has just recently completed the environmental health course in TU Dublin. And as part of our final year, we are required to carry out a research project. And for my research project, I chose to do an investigation into melanotan 2 products and their accessibility in Ireland, with a specific focus on the melanotan 2 nasal sprays. I chose to do my final year project on this topic because I noticed that the Milan 10 nasal sprays were kind of a growing trend. And I found that I was kind of getting ads for them on social media. And I knew of people in my local area that were using the products. And I just seen kind of an uptake in use of these products. And I was curious as to what the products are, where people are buying them from, and what was in them. So because of this, I chose to do a chemical analysis of melatonin 2 nasal sprays in the TU Dublin labs, where I carried out HPLC testing on samples. And I also carried out a desktop audit on online sellers and retailers of melatonin 2 products, which I'm going to share with you today and just share some general information in melatonin 2 nasal spray products and what to look out for in that as well. As it's a growing area of concern, and as I mentioned earlier, there is like an uptake in use of the product. So with that, I'm going to share my presentation, which is today. The title of my project is A Chemical Analysis of Nasal Tannin Sprays and an Assessment of melatonin 2 products and their availability in Ireland. So just an introduction, what is melanotan? So melanotan 2 is an unregulated form of alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone known for darkening human skin. So melanotan 2 does this by mimicking natural hormones that we have in our bodies known as melanocortin peptides. And these hormones are involved in the production of pigmentation in the skin, known as melanogenesis. So melanotan 2 being a synthetic hormone kind of stimulates the production of melanin in the skin, and stimulates melanogenesis. So melanotan was initially designed to treat patients with photosensitivity disorders to light, such as albinism and EPP. However, this isn't an approved substance. So melanotan isn't approved to treat or cure any condition within Ireland or the EU. So melanotan 2 is classified as a medicinal product, not a cosmetic product. As by definition, a cosmetic product can't be inhaled, ingested, or injected, which melanotan 2 requires for uptake of the product. So melanotan is available in injectable form, nasal spray form, oral drops, drinks, and gummies. So the injectable form, the tannin injections were kind of more popular around the early 2000s, but they're not really used as much anymore. And nasal sprays are kind of more popular. And this can be seen kind of in trends on social media, on Instagram, TikTok. And the nasal sprays are relatively new, kind of came in around 2022 is when I seen a huge kind of increase in advertisements and marketing of the products on social media. And these products, they're kind of they're more discreet and they can be kind of hidden in handbags or gym bags. And they don't involve injecting as opposed to the tannin injections. So I suppose in that regard they're easier to use, as they can be kind of easily hidden, they're easily accessible, and they kind of work the same way as the tannin injections do. So they're advertised to be used in conjunction with sunbeds and or natural sunlight, and this is to activate the melanotan and stimulate the melanogenesis, causing darkening of the skin. So side effects of melanotan 2, so increased pigmentation and skin and nails. This is kind of the main sought out for side effect really. So people typically use melanotan products to darken the skin. And you can see in the picture on the right there, it shows a young girl kind of using the product. This was on a TikTok video and I took a screenshot. So a nasal spray a day keeps the pellets away. That's the caption of the video. Which is it's ironic really, considering it's a twist on the phrase an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But it shows a young girl using the product, and that is how the product is kind of used. It's inhaled through the nose, as the girl is doing in the image. So headaches, darkening of moles and freckles, and the development of new moles and freckles, which again is quite concerning, as kind of noticing any change in any existing moles or freckles or the development of new moles and freckles um, is something that should be kind of monitored by your GP. And using these products, knowing that this is a potential side effect, it's dangerous, and it could potentially end up leading to something more sinister. Vision loss, facial flushing, loss of appetite, which is commonly advertised as a benefit of using the product on social media platforms and sellers kind of websites, as loss of appetite leads to weight loss. And a lot of the kind of sellers use this as like a vantage point, um, as a means of kind of advertising. You might be tanned and you also might lose weight, which is it's very harmful, especially considering that the target audience for this product is predominantly young females. Um, and this could cause a lot of kind of unhealthy lifestyle choices. Gastrointestinal symptoms including diarrhea and vomiting, spontaneous erections, rhabdomyolysis, which is the breakdown of muscle cells, and this can permanently damage your heart and kidneys, and kidney infection. So this is a lack of blood supply to the kidneys, which can lead to necrosis, and then ultimately leading to renal dysfunction or renal failure. So this slide will go through a kind of case study of a lady. So the lady in the image there is Sarah Ashcroft. She is a young mother from Birkenhead in the UK, and Sarah was diagnosed with acne keratosis. So it's a precancerous condition, as a result of using nasal sprays and sunbeds over the course of 9 years. So Sarah was told her precancerous condition was caused by years of using nasal sprays, which together with sunbed use effectively doubled the amount of skin damage that she received. So the doctor looking after Sarah had kind of said to her that the use of sunbeds and the Melanotan nasal sprays actually doubled the amount of skin damage that she received, um, which is quite scary to think of. So Sarah quoted, "Over the last 9 years, I've been using tannin injections and nasal sprays. It's all down to sunbeds and using nasal sprays. People don't realize just how dangerous they are. It's been a reality check for me. I know so many young girls who use nasal sprays. Years ago, it was tannin injections, but you don't hear much of them now as people are using the spray and they're going on the sunbed every day." So Sarah acknowledges here, some of the trends that are kind of occurring, like the change from tannin injections with the switch to nasal sprays. Again, it's likely due to the convenience of the product. They're easy to use, as opposed to injecting yourself. They can be easily hidden in bags. Um, and again, it's a lot of young girls using them, and then they are going on to sunbeds every day and using them in conjunction with tannin, kind of using natural light or sunbeds. And this is causing skin damage. And unfortunately, Sarah, here in the images, she had to undergo a painful treatment, which she said left her skin feel like it was burning. And this kind of shows the reality of using these products. And it's important that, as I'll show you images throughout this presentation of how the product is marketed, and it looks, it's marketed in a way that makes it look quite aesthetic and nice, but this is the harsh reality of using melanotan products and sunbeds. So why is melanotan an issue? So melanotan 2 products are unregulated across Ireland and the EU. So it kind of raises the question, what is actually in the products? because they can't be legitimately manufactured in laboratories within Ireland or the EU. So I got this quote from the Health Product Regulatory Authority's website. And it was Grania Power who stated, there is no data to support any safe use in any form, and anyone using it is taking a huge personal health risk. And this was in relation to melanotan 2 nasal spray products. So again, they state melanotan 2 is not an authorized medicine, and it's not possible for people to obtain it from a legitimate source. There's little information on the safety of these products and what they contain or how or where they're made. So where is it being manufactured? So again, the source is unknown, as there's no legitimate sources manufacturing the products. So there has been links to China. An example of this was seen in the USA by Milano Corp Incorporated. This was a company who were selling tannin injections and nasal sprays a couple of years ago. And what happened was the owner of the company was advertising his products as 100% manufactured in the USA. So the FDA, after warning them not to be selling the products as they weren't FDA approved, they did a deep dive and they actually discovered that the products were being shipped imported from China. And he was rebranding them and relabeling the products as 100% manufactured in the USA and selling them. So the owner of that company was actually charged with false claims on a product and also charged for selling a product, an unregulated product, but also for shipping it into EU countries. So you can see here at the bottom, there's a screenshot. So a lot of companies selling the products make claims regarding the purity that melanotan 2 is sourced from a lab. So the quote there, at Fast Ham, we only source the highest quality melanotan 2 straight from the laboratory. All of our melanotan 2 is purity tested to ensure we only sell the best. So this is taken from a Northern Irish seller, and the company is Fast Nasal Tanners. And they're stating that they are getting their melanotan straight from the lab and that the melanotan 2 is purity tested to ensure we only sell the best, which it's quite misleading to consumers because, as I mentioned in the previous slides, this product can't be legitimately manufactured. So I wouldn't exactly, it's not fair to say that the product is purity tested, as it's unlikely that this is the case. So this is just a few screenshots that I took from Instagram accounts from Irish sellers of melanotan 2. So I just added these in just to show how the product is marketed. So again, it's predominantly marketed towards young females, and this can be seen in kind of the advertisement and the language used, the name of the brands, the aesthetic of the brand. So as you can see in the bottom though, I just like to highlight on this slide. So Divine Tannin and Tannin by Smith, or Smith's Tannin, they both have approximately 4,000 followers, which is a huge amount of followers. Just like and most of these followers are young females. But it's just to highlight these are two Irish brands and both operating from Dublin. They both offer collection and kind of shipping of the products as well. And you can see in some of the photos there that I've added, they offer bulk bundles, and the top left photograph there that you can see says, warning, opening this package will cause extreme happiness. Which again, there's no label on the bottle itself, any side effects, any ingredients, even a best before date, or just even a label to say what the product is. So yeah, it's quite scary, but I added this slide in just to kind of show and highlight how the product is marketed and kind of highlight who it's marketed towards, which is predominantly young females. So where are they coming from? There's bulk offers available online, where a brand might operate almost like a pyramid scheme, where they're selling, kind of 10 nasals. This can be seen in the image on the left, but they're selling 10 nasal sprays for €80. And then they're advertising that you can make €450 off of this, by you selling them for about €45 each. Um, and as you can see, they're kind of incentivizing purchasing higher quantities to make profits. So 200 nasal sprays would cost €360, but they're saying that you could make over €9,000 by doing so. These products are sold unbranded or labeled so that the wholesalers or the people buying these bulk bundles can add their own logos. So again, this is concerning because there is no ingredients list, no best before date or nothing like that on the packaging itself. And it kind of gives sellers free rein to kind of put whatever they want on the bottles as well. And again, Divine Tannin, it's an Irish supplier, and there are Irish suppliers selling bulk bundles, and it's a common theme across a lot of the social media platforms for these sellers, where a lot of them do actually offer a bulk bundle offer. So how is Melanotan 2 sold? Online websites, social media, which is kind of the main source or the predominant sales platform. Sunbed shops, which are they wouldn't exactly be out on the counters in Sunbed shops. It would kind of be more of an under the counter thing. And from my research, this is what I found. It's a lot of kind of the staff who work in the Sunbed shops would sell them kind of as a side business for themselves, as opposed to selling them directly through the Sunbed shop. Gyms. So again, one of the kind of target audience for these products are bodybuilders and gym goers, and this is because of the suppressed appetite or lack of appetite, and the tannin kind of effect that they have. So for bodybuilders, this is kind of ideal as prior to a competition. They would tan themselves up and they want to look as lean as possible. So as part of that lifestyle, they'd cut, which involves eating significantly less calories and less food, in order to make themselves look more toned and defined. So sellers predominantly operating through social media accounts, using private accounts and personal accounts. So it is actually quite hard to quantify exactly how many sellers there are operating in Ireland. It's unclear because, you know, people aren't exactly selling them, the pages aren't listed as Melanotan 2 or nasal sprays. Some of them could be just listed under John Doe, and they might be selling them just through their personal accounts. And that's, you'd kind of need to have a little bit of street knowledge in order to be able to fully assess how many sellers there are of Melanotan 2. And the sellers tend to use false information and make false health claims on the products. So I've added a few screenshots there, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I'd just like to draw your attention to the top right screenshot there. So it's a disclaimer, but in the disclaimer, hidden away, it states this product is intended for research and medical purposes only. On the very last screenshot as well, on the very end sentence, this product is intended for research and medical purposes only. So this is kind of constantly seen throughout on social media and on websites, that in the disclaimer section, which is quite scary because it's hidden away there. And again, it's not clear for consumers what that is or how that is, because they're also saying that you should use them in conjunction with Sunbeds and then stating that they're for research and medical purposes only. So as you can see in the screenshot in the middle there, improved fat loss. Melanotan helps metabolize both visceral and subcutaneous fat and may help boost weight loss efforts. So again, it's a false health claim on the product, and it incentivizes kind of reduced appetites and using the product as a means to lose weight as well. So this image here just shows you the different types of Melanotan products available. So the nasal sprays, which are the most popular, the tannin injections, the gummies, Melanotan drinks, oral drops, face drops. And all of these products in this picture are sold by a supplier in Dublin. So that's Divine Tannin. And you can see some of the prices are listed there for the different bundles that the seller provides. So they're relatively cheap. Kind of they range between 20 and €50. So again, the types of melanotan. So melanotan drink contains 60 milligrams of melanotan 2 per bottle, which is quite shocking because this is the highest quantity of melanotan 2 I've seen in a product. So the instructions for use state that to take 3 sips 30 minutes before a sunbed or outdoor tanning, which is quite vague because if everybody on this call was to take a sip of their water, 3 sips of their water, I guarantee the quantity would be completely different for everybody. Um, so this, it's so vague and it's so dangerous to advertise or to, this kind of lack of information with these products. And it's especially with the dosage. And I'll discuss now a case report of a 39-year-old male who injected 6 milligrams of melanotan that he purchased over the internet, which was 6 times the starting dose. And this resulted in systemic toxicity with rhabdomyolysis and renal dysfunction, kind of symptoms of that. And that's 6 milligrams as opposed to 60 milligrams that's in the drink. So it'd be quite easy to overdo it because of the lack of instructions as well. So this slide will just go through some of my findings from the desktop audit. So all of these graphs go through, they cover data gathered from 10 different sellers across websites and social media platforms. So the first, the top left graph there goes through the number of selling platforms that listed potential side effects of use. So 80% of sellers didn't list any side effects of use, which is shocking. And the number of sellers that provided melanotan 2 products other than nasal sprays. So 90% offered another type of melanotan product, with only 1 or 10% offering exclusively nasal spray products. So this could be the tannin injections, the drinks, the gummies, anything mentioned throughout this presentation. The number of websites that provide explanation of how the product works. So only 60% provided an explanation of how the product worked, with 40% providing no explanation. And it's important to note that just because they provided an explanation doesn't necessarily mean it's factual. It was just that they gave some sort of description of how the product works. So, for example, they might have mentioned that the product stimulates melanin production. So, and then the last kind of chart there shows a comparison of the different price ranges from the different sellers. So the lowest price there was €23.20, and the highest price of €46.99, with prices kind of varying in between, that can be seen there on the chart. So again, relatively cheap and accessible for young people to purchase the products. So what to look out for: discreet packaging. So again, the bottles are quite small. They can be put into bags, gym bags, handbags. They're kind of discreet. There's no labels on the bags or the packaging. They're sold in bags that might hide the product, that can be seen in the top image on the left or the right there. There's little to no information on them. So again, no labels or anything kind of written on the packaging or on the bottle itself. And an excessive tanned complexion. So people who use melanotan 2 products tend to have an excessively tanned complexion. People who use melanotan 2 and Sunbeds do tend to be quite dark. And it is concerning, but it does stand out, and the tan itself is quite obvious. And as mentioned previously, one of the kind of side effects is facial flushing. So people who use the products tend to have a red kind of hue off their skin, kind of making it a little bit more obvious than kind of people just using Sunbeds alone. The melanotan itself does have kind of a very distinct tan. When people are using it, you can tell. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you can contact myself, Lauryn Dwyer, at the email listed below, or my supervisor, Sara Boyd, on her email. And